my name is Deacon Eric Sewell of St. Sebastian's Church in Sturdivant and St. Lucy's Church in Racine, Wisconsin. 16 counties in Wisconsin are about to have a referendum on legalizing marijuana in the state. Though they are advisory referendums, they are very important because they're trying to build momentum for the full legalization of marijuana in Wisconsin. There is a lot of speculative debate on the benefits and negative impacts of legalizing marijuana, but we do not need to speculate. We have definitive knowledge on what the effects of legalization will be because 4 states have already legalized marijuana and we can rely on their experience. In 2016, legal marijuana sales were $6.7 billion. It is big business. And like all big business, it is organized and it plans on growing its markets. The marijuana industry has lobbyists, marketers, researchers. At the heart of their argument is this: marijuana sales are good. And I'm going to take a few minutes to show you why all of their arguments are urban legends. And you'll see that with the slightest effort, they all fall apart. The first argument of the pro-marijuana crowd is this: legal marijuana will be no worse than legal alcohol. How many people have you heard over the years say, marijuana is no worse than having a few beers, but here's a few things they never mention. First of all, alcohol kills 88,000 people per year in the United States. Is that truly something we want to duplicate? Most people, on most occasions, when they're consuming alcohol, do not do it to the point of intoxication. But that is not true with marijuana. The potency of marijuana is 10 times more potent than the 1960s. This pot is not your father's and your grandfather's pot. In Colorado, calls to the Poison Control Center have increased 210% after the legalization of marijuana. The second argument that the industry has is legalizing marijuana will reduce crime. Now this seems kind of obvious. If you legalize something, there should be less crime, but it is not true. It's not true for 3 reasons. First of all, this: states limit the amount of marijuana a person can possess. Next, they prohibit youth from possessing it or using it. And finally, it is illegal to grow marijuana for distribution outside of the regulatory and taxation systems they have in place. For example, narcotics officers in Colorado have seen a 50% increase in illegal growing operations since legalization. In 2016 alone, law enforcement confiscated 7,116 pounds of marijuana, carried out 252 felony arrests, and stopped 346 vehicles from distributing marijuana to another state. Colorado has also seen an 88% increase in fatalities on the roads. The crime rate in Colorado has increased 11 times faster than the rest of the nation since legalization. Their third reason for legalizing marijuana is it has great medical benefits. And by many scientific and anecdotal reports, marijuana does have medical effects such as reduction of pain, nausea, and other side effects. The problem is this: every time that a state has approved medical marijuana, there is a great push afterwards to have full legalization for recreational use. They go hand in hand. Now, many people see marijuana as a solution to the opioid addiction epidemic. But in Colorado, opioid deaths have risen from 110 to 536 since the legalization. Roughly, they have increased 5 times. In 1 year, the Oregon Burn Center had 30 burn victims. And this is from the use of butane hash oil. These 30 victims had $5 million in medical expenses. And smoking 4 marijuana joints has the same negative effect as 20 cigarettes. And their final major argument for legalization is this: marijuana provides enormous tax revenues while reducing cost. Colorado has seen increased tax revenues of $247 million in 2017. However, Colorado's overall budget is $36 billion. This makes this 0.7% of their budget, just a small fraction. Conversely, but difficult to measure, are the increased costs, social services, law enforcement, regulatory, taxation bureaus, school systems, medical costs, and lost wages. Colorado's homelessness between 2015 and 2016 has increased 13%. Marijuana urine positive tests have shown both Colorado and the state of Washington to be double the national average. Central Oregon hospitals saw a 2,000% increase in emergency room visits related to marijuana poisoning, with 434 in January of 2016 alone. The prior average was 32 per month. School superintendent of the Cherry Hill school system in Colorado said this: when the legalization of marijuana was introduced, the schools were promised an increase in revenue. So far, the only thing that marijuana legalization has brought to our schools is more marijuana use. I cannot think of any legislation that is more detrimental to our country than the full legalization of marijuana. Of this I am sure. As a deacon, if we legalize marijuana, I'll be spending more time in hospitals, addiction centers, prisons, and funeral homes. The next time you kiss your child or your grandchild, I want you to ask yourself this question: am I going to stand by and allow the drug wolves to devour this child for the sake of money and a false idea of freedom? The time to stop the scourge is now, because once the genie is out of the bottle, we will never get him back in.